Hello wrestling fans, Damian Nelson coming to you here with this week's edition of the Nelson Analysis. Today, August 24th, 2009, coming off the heels of that big WWE SummerSlam pay-per-view event just last night. What an event it was, by the way. Take a look at the 2009 SummerSlam analysis wrap-up review available at pwrshow.com. See what our thoughts were. Also, be sure to tune in to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN to get all of our thoughts and comments on that pay-per-view. But I think the standouts and one of the big stories of last week would have to be Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler really showing how great of a talent he is in that ring, in that squared circle against Rey Mysterio this past Sunday at SummerSlam. We talked a couple of weeks ago about the stars of 2010. Who would be the next breed, the new breed, if you will, in professional wrestling? Dolph Ziggler proved last night at SummerSlam why he should be and is on that list. That certainly was incredibly impressive, the outing that he had with Rey Mysterio. Obviously, Rey had a lot to do with that as well, but a lot of the credit obviously needs to go to Dolph Ziggler as well. SummerSlam was back. It had the edge. It had the WWE, rather, was back at SummerSlam. Had the edge, had the feel, had the event nature where you could tell something big was going to happen. I think that the overbooking of the Randy Orton-John Cena match added a new dimension to their story and added the potential going into Breaking Point, a submission match. Notice that wasn't one of the situations that we saw at SummerSlam, and then beyond that going into the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. They can carry this on forward now, and they have a reason to do so. So that was a good move by WWE to do that. Other things going on in professional wrestling this week. Bryan Danielson has apparently signed a developmental deal with WWE. Bryan Danielson, the big star from Ring of Honor, the American Dragon. Big buzz all over the web today about that signing, which has been confirmed by Ring of Honor Wrestling. This is a big deal, obviously, for Bryan Danielson and an opportunity for WWE to get somebody big and huge into their ranks. We know that they got CM Punk from Ring of Honor, basically. Evan Bourne, Matt Sydal came from Ring of Honor as well. It's not new for WWE to be going to the Ring of Honors of the world to get some of their talent, but the question is, what is coming up from FCW? Aside from the stars that we see on ECW, on ECW right now, what's coming up from FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling, the farm camp of WWE? Remember a couple of years ago, they severed that relationship with Ohio Valley Wrestling, then created basically their own federation down in Florida called Florida Championship Wrestling to build new stars. And while I think SummerSlam showed you some of those new stars, DiBiase, Rhodes, Swagger, Ziggler, I think that they've still got a long ways to go, a very long ways to go to build stars that people will care about and people will tune into. The question is, how will they handle it this week? How will Raw be with Floyd Mayweather involved in being the guest host? How will ECW, Superstars, and then SmackDown be this week? How can they carry that momentum that they certainly have gained from SummerSlam through the course of the week? Not sure how they need to do it. We'll see what happens and see if they do it. And hopefully they take Superstars and go back to the three-match concept that had worked so well for it leading up through last week, where they tried to cram 4 matches into a 3-pound bag. TNA Wrestling, last Thursday's Impact was a good show. Kurt Angle obviously retaining the championship. We know now that Bobby Lashley will be on this Thursday's Impact. Dixie Carter will make her first Impact appearance on that show as well. And this is an interesting time for her to be doing so. Granted, this aligned to the Bobby Lashley debut and what he's going to be doing as far as his performance in TNA. But you got the Kurt Angle situation, the Jeff Jarrett situation, and much more going on right now in TNA. So she's putting herself right in the line of fire. And we'll see what is said or is done as it pertains to that big appearance on Impact this week. So, last week, a great week in wrestling. A week that made me happy to be a fan again. Coming up this week, we'll see what happens. Both companies building to their next pay-per-views, TNA and WWE, looking toward September, and a couple of weeks now to sort of plan and chart the course for those events. We always want to hear your comments and your questions. Feel free to send them to pwrshow.com. We'll have a brand new edition of PWR Q&A dealing with your emails only coming up tomorrow right here on the site, pwrshow.com. So be sure to check that out. And in the meantime and in between time, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you for tuning in to the Pro Wrestling Report, the Nelson Analysis for this week. I will be back with another analysis Monday of next week. And every day this week, it's PWR Express at pwrshow.com.